Hi, everyone. This recording is to take place today, and it will be loaded up to the website, and you will be given notice of that. You will have seen it in the paper in the form of an ad. We're unable to do public information meetings in person because of the COVID-19 situation that we are in, so we're doing our best to still give you, the public, much opportunity as possible to give your feedback about the proposal that you'll be hearing about today. So to just give you a bit of a roadmap, what will happen is we will hear from our planner, Laura Mosier, and she will be sharing a document, a presentation of what is being proposed for Woodworth Road. And then we will be hearing from Caleb Howden, who is the developer on this project. And then we'll be wrapping things up and moving on to placing the ad. And then from the time of the ad, there will be 30 days for you to be in touch with the municipality to give us your feedback. And from that point, we'll be looking at making a recommendation to the Planning Advisory Committee. So I'll hand it over now to Laura Mosier, who is with us for her presentation. Go ahead, Laura.
Great, thank you, Councillor Raven. So I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, so can everyone hear me?
Yep. We can.
Excellent. So as Councillor Raven said, we're here today for a public information meeting for a planning application to permit additional residential units on two separate properties, 77 and 79, as well as 83 and 85 Woodworth Road. So the purpose of this meeting is to inform the public of the application, to explain the planning policies that enable this application to occur, and to receive preliminary feedback. But it should be noted that no opinions have been formed on the part of staff or on the part of the council at this time. So the current proposal is to add additional residential units. So we're looking at two separate properties. They are side by side, and each property is currently either developed or undergoing the development of a 2-unit dwelling. The underlying zoning permits up to 2 units on the property within a single dwelling. And the proposal is to add an additional 4 residential units to each dwelling for a total of 6 residential units per lot, or 12 residential units in total over the 2 properties. So the properties in question are in North Kentville, within the county. And here we can see an aerial photo of the 2 properties. They're right in the middle here. They're right in the middle here, labeled subject properties. Within the surrounding area, we see a variety of residential housing forms. All along Woodworth Road, they're generally 1-unit dwellings. However, up on Redden Avenue, the zoning here is for slightly higher density. So we see 4 units, we see duplexes, we see some singles, and as you can see in the aerial photo, much of the street is undeveloped, although we are aware of some development plans. To the south, we have Valley Regional Hospital on the south side of Exhibition Street, as well as a provincial office building. There's also a number of other professional buildings and residential uses all along Exhibition Street. So pretty varied neighborhood in terms of a variety of uses. I should also point out that to the east end of Woodworth Road is the town of Kentville, shown in hatching. This is a closer version of the 2 properties. The 2 properties each have roughly 90 feet of frontage and roughly 14,000 square feet of lot area. We'll get into some of the specifics of the property shortly. We've got a few photos of the site here. This is showing the almost completed 2-unit dwelling at 77 and 79 Woodworth Road. You can see that the dwelling includes 2 front doors on each side of the dwelling, representing 2 of the proposed units. And we'll see a photo to the rear in just a moment. The additional 2 units would be accessed. So you can see in the background of this photo, and I do have another photo, I believe, that shows it a little bit better, but you can see the development occurring to the rear. That is, in the front there is a completed 4-unit, and behind that is an additional 4-unit that's currently under development. This is the second dwelling. So we have the foundation poured for it with some plumbing rough ends. And this photo also shows the grading on the site. So the site tends to slope downward from the front and then slopes back up in the rear. And there are photos showing this in subsequent slides. So this is a photo looking to the north. You can see the topography of the site is not flat. So it slopes downward to the rear of the property, and then at the rear of the property it slopes back up towards Redden Avenue, which is to the north. And this photo also shows nicely the mix of different residential uses. There has been some drainage work done on the site. You can see here this pipe here, and there are a couple of other of these on site to help to accommodate drainage in this unusual topographical formation. This is the northeast corner of the property, so this is at the rear, and this also shows the different grading on the site. This is the rear of the building with 2 access doors for lower level residential units. So this is the site plan. This is the dwelling that's already completed. We have some parking in the front, which was shown in the first photo. This is the footprint for the second dwelling, which we saw the foundation for, similar in design as the completed one. The rear proposes additional parking, potentially accessory buildings in the form of a garage, and amenity space for residents. When we look at the zoning, the properties are zoned R2. As I mentioned before, Redden Avenue is zoned R3, a slightly higher residential density. And to the south along Exhibition Street, we have a mixed commercial residential, which provides permission for residential uses at similar densities to the R3 zone. The hospital lands and the provincial office building are zoned institutional. So the R2 zone requires 40 feet of frontage and a minimum lot size of 4,000 square feet if the lot is serviced with sewer, which this is. So given that the properties have 90 feet of frontage each and 14,000 square feet, it would be permissible to create 4 lots. Each could be developed with 2 units. So that would be 4 lots at 2 units each would be 8 units. So this proposal represents 1 additional unit on each potential lot. It's an additional unit per lot in density to be increased. So when we look at land use designations, this is what guides us in terms of what policies we look to see what is available to a potential applicant in terms of a planning application to permit something that's not permitted as of right in the land use bylaw. And we see that these properties, along with most of the land around them, are within the residential designation. The exception is Exhibition Street, where it is designated for commercial. The institutional zone is enabled in all designations, and therefore the south side of Exhibition Street has also been placed in the residential land use designation. So for this application, we are looking at a development agreement. And a development agreement is a legal contract between council and a property owner. And it restricts the developer to the use or types of uses that are outlined in the development agreement. These may be separate and different from the land use bylaw. And it enables council to exercise more specific control over either the types of uses or the uses themselves, but also over character, form, maintenance, and other matters within the development agreement. This is usually done to minimize or mitigate any negative impacts that might be expected from the type of development that's proposed. The agreement is registered on title and therefore runs with the land, and that is that the conditions don't change if the property changes hands in terms of ownership. With regard to the policies that we're looking at the policies of the residential designation, as I said before, and the policy that we'll be using to assess this application is states that council shall consider only by development agreement in the residential designation residential proposals for uses that are not otherwise permitted or cannot meet the standards of the applicable residential zone. In evaluating such development agreements, council shall be satisfied that the proposal is consistent with the existing character of the neighborhood, including prevailing building types, lot size, and frontage setback patterns and parking locations. The conditions that prevent the proposal from being permitted as of right in this are addressed by the development agreement, including but not limited to enhanced buffering and positioning and design of buildings and structures. And finally, that the proposal meets the general development agreement criteria set out in section 5.3. And we'll go through these now. The general criteria, which all development agreement and rezoning applications are assessed under, are that the proposal is in keeping with the intent of the municipal planning strategy, that there will be limited financial impact on the municipality, land use compatibility with surrounding uses, the adequacy and proximity of school, recreation, and other community facilities, the creation of traffic hazards or congestion, adequacy of fire protection, adequacy of sewer and water services, the potential for flooding or serious drainage problems, negative impacts on well fields or other groundwater supplies, pollution, including soil erosion or siltation of water courses, negative impacts on lake water quality or wetland, negative impacts on neighboring farming operations, and finally, the suitability of the site in terms of grades, soils, geological conditions, location of water courses, marshes, bogs, swamps, and proximity to utility right-of-ways. So as part of our staff review, we'll be consulting with internal and external departments and agencies to ensure that these considerations are adequately addressed through the development agreement. So in terms of process, we'll be looking at, we've received it, oh, my apologies. Sorry for that. So we've received a complete application. We're right here in the online public information meeting. This will last for 30 days, during which time we will be happy to take any comments, questions, or concerns from the public, either by email or phone. We will then proceed to do our staff review. Once staff have completed their review and we've reached an agreement with the applicant, we'll bring the application to Planning Advisory Committee for recommendation to council. Council will then give the application initial consideration, and if they choose to move forward, we'll authorize a public hearing. This will also be held remotely following a similar process as this public information meeting. And then council will make their final consideration. Just for reference, properties within 500 feet will be notified of the public hearing, as you have been notified of this public information meeting. Following council's decision, there's a 4-week appeal period during which aggrieved parties, either the applicant should council refuse, or a member of the public can appeal council's decision. That completes my presentation. Any questions or comments can be sent to me, Laura Mosier, at lmosier@countyofkings.ca, or I'm happy to speak with you by phone at 902-690-6102. And all of this information can be found on our website at www.countyofkings.ca/planning applications. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Laura. And now, Caleb, I would pass it over to you about the proposal or any clarifications that you would like to make.
Excellent. Thank you, Pauline. I appreciate it. And as well, Laura, excellent presentation. Just a couple make on this development and this project. There has been in the past some great concern about the drainage in this area. And as a developer, very early on in the development, when we started cutting trees, and we did it all by hand to really get to understand what the property shape was like and where water ran and what happened. Very soon we had water issues on the property from the Department of Transportation's culvert draining into a hidden manhole essentially on the side of the property. And so we spent over a year negotiating and working with the Department of Transportation to finally come to an agreement to have a very large drainage pipe run down through the center of this property, with a manhole down at the lower part of the property, which Laura pointed out in her presentation in those pictures. And so because of the work that we've done, it was took a lot of time, but we have now 3 manholes in this area to take on stormwater that were not there previously. So the issues that were here with this site in the past will not be there with this completion of this development. Water ran from the properties from the west across this property towards the east, and it inundated the property to the east with water whenever we had large torrential downpours. Both because of the change in grading on the site that we've been able to make, as well as the storm sewer system that has been installed. The water drainage issues, we believe, have been eliminated and will be a big asset for the overall community going forward. So I just wanted to make mention of that because it was a lot of work, and I know that for some of the neighbors, it caused a lot of stress and strain because of the water issues that were there. But we believe that we've addressed them to the best of our ability. I don't think there's anything else about that I want to mention, other than it is and always has been our intention to make the community more beautiful and have an asset in there that would be a benefit to the full community, and we believe that's what we're building. I think that's...
Thank you, Caleb. Laura, is there anything else? Do you have an approximate timeline for when an ad may be placed or letters may be sent to people? We're at today's what, the 6th of August? Laura, you're muted.
I'm sorry. I just realized that. We expect the ad and the letters to go out within the next week or so.
Excellent.
Somewhere around mid-September or so to get comments to you.
Yeah, that would be the expectation.
Okay, so is it time then to close this meeting, Laura? Is there anything else that you need to add?
I don't believe so. I think we're well within bounds to close it up. Okay,
well, just luck to everyone with getting their comments in, and to you, Caleb, as this goes forward. And we'll all talk again soon, I'm sure, either at Planning Advisory Committee or at public hearings. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Raven.